What happened to Keanu Reeves at an airport security line left the entire terminal frozen in shock. Cameras started recording, passengers began shouting, and one officer's behavior exposed something far darker than a simple security check. This wasn't about safety, this was discrimination caught on camera. And the way Keanu responded? It became a moment the world would never forget. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Now let's dive into what really happened. You won't believe what happened the moment Keanu Reeves stepped into the airport security line. The terminal was alive with its usual chaos. Rolling suitcases clicking across shiny floors, announcements echoing through speakers, and travelers rushing toward their gates with coffee cups in hand. In the middle of this noise, Keanu Reeves moved quietly and humbly, dressed in a simple dark jacket, worn in sneakers, and carrying only a single backpack. He looked like any other tired traveler. No bodyguards walked beside him. No assistant pushed his luggage. He preferred it that way. People around him began to notice. A little girl tugged her mother's sleeve, whispering, "Mom, that's Keanu Reeves." A group of teens behind him nudged each other, raising their phones discreetly, hoping for a picture without disturbing him. Keanu gave them a small, polite smile and continued walking toward the security checkpoint. But the atmosphere shifted the moment he stepped forward. A tall security officer with a stiff posture and a hardened expression suddenly moved in front of Keanu, raising an arm to block him. The officer looked irritated, almost angry, even before speaking. "Sir, step aside. You've been flagged." For a few seconds, everything around them seemed to pause. The travelers nearby stopped talking. Some frowned in confusion. Others quickly pulled out their phones, sensing something unusual was about to unfold. The tone the officer used wasn't routine. It was sharp, cold, and unnecessarily aggressive. Keanu blinked, startled but composed. "Of course," he said gently. "Is there a problem?" The officer didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked Keanu up and down slowly, judgmentally, his eyes lingering on Keanu's long hair, his scruffy backpack, and even his face. The message behind his stare was obvious. Too obvious. The crowd felt it too. A woman near the line whispered, "What is this? He's clearly singling him out." Another voice rose louder. "This is straight-up discrimination." Someone began recording. Then another. And another. Keanu didn't raise his voice. He didn't snap back or argue. He simply stood there, breathing calmly, absorbing the humiliation with quiet dignity. But behind his calm eyes, there was hurt. Hurt not just for himself, but for anyone who had ever been judged unfairly. Yet what Keanu did next, how he chose to handle the situation, that became the real story the world would talk about. The security area fell into an odd, uncomfortable silence as the officer pulled Keanu aside. Moments earlier, the terminal was buzzing with footsteps, rolling bags, and chatter. Now it felt like every eye in the checkpoint was focused on one place, on Keanu Reeves standing alone beside the inspection table. Fans who recognized him watched nervously. Some looked confused. Others were visibly angry. A few even shouted in protest, unable to believe what they were seeing. Through all of this, Keanu remained still. He didn't raise his voice, didn't argue, didn't defend himself. Instead, he quietly slipped the backpack off his shoulder, placed it gently on the inspection table, and stepped back with calm composure. His silence wasn't weakness, it was restraint, patience, and dignity. The officer began searching the bag with a cold intensity, tossing items aside with an attitude that made the crowd uneasy. His expression wasn't neutral or professional, it was accusatory, as if he desperately hoped to find something, anything, that would justify the harsh treatment he had already shown. A second officer, hearing the tension in the air, approached the scene. "Is everything all right here?" she asked, her tone cautious. The first officer didn't even look at her. "I'm conducting a thorough check. Follow procedure," he snapped. But the moment she looked at the man being searched, her face softened with recognition. "That's Keanu Reeves," she whispered, stunned. The words spread instantly. "That's Keanu Reeves. That's really him." Why are they treating him like this? Travelers raised their voices. Why are you targeting him? He didn't do anything wrong. You're treating him differently. The tension thickened like fog. Phones were up everywhere. Dozens of screens were capturing every second. Angles from the side, from behind, from the front. The entire checkpoint was now a stage, and the world was watching. Keanu slowly raised his hands, not in fear, but to calm the crowd. "It's okay," he said softly. "Let them do their job." But there was a slight tremble in his voice, not out of fear, but deep disappointment. He'd seen prejudice before. He'd felt stereotypes pushed onto him in subtle ways. But never had he expected this level of humiliation in public for everyone to see. Still, the officer kept searching, digging deeper, going through every pocket and zipper. The crowd grew restless. The second officer's discomfort grew. The cameras kept recording. And after several tense minutes, the truth finally revealed itself, but not in the way the officer had hoped. After several painfully quiet minutes, minutes that felt like hours to everyone watching, the officer finally stepped back from the inspection table. His shoulders dropped. His expression shifted from forced confidence to uncomfortable frustration. "There's nothing suspicious," he muttered under his breath, almost annoyed that he hadn't found anything. Keanu nodded politely. "Then am I free to go?" he asked, his voice calm but undeniably tired. The officer didn't respond with professionalism. He didn't apologize. Didn't offer an explanation. Didn't even meet Keanu's eyes. He simply turned away as if nothing had happened, as if the humiliation he caused had no weight at all. Before Keanu could take a single step, a passenger moved forward, his hand raised, phone shining in the bright airport lights. "I got the whole thing on video," the man said loudly, making sure everyone, including the officer, heard him clearly. This wasn't a security check. This was racism. The officer froze. Completely. The color drained from his face as he realized the situation was no longer in his control. The second officer rushed in immediately, her steps quick and her expression tense. She gently but firmly pulled her colleague aside, whispering urgently. He tried to defend himself, but the look on her face showed she already knew there was no excuse for what had just happened. With the crowd watching closely, she turned toward Keanu. "Mr. Reeves, I'm very sorry for what happened. You shouldn't have been treated that way." Keanu offered a small, gentle nod, the kind only someone with a big heart could give even after facing something so unfair. "It's all right," he said softly. "Just try to make sure it doesn't happen to someone else." His voice cracked slightly on the word "else," because that was the real heartbreak for him. Not his own embarrassment, not the cameras, but the thought of countless ordinary people who face similar discrimination without witnesses, without recording, without anyone to speak up for them. The man with the phone stepped closer. "Do you want me to post the video?" he asked. Keanu sighed, thinking for a moment, then replied with words that surprised everyone standing there. "Post it if you think it will help people understand what others go through." That was all the permission the internet needed. Within minutes, the video was online. Within hours, it was everywhere. The moment the video went online, it spread like wildfire across the internet. Within minutes, social media platforms exploded. Twitter feeds filled with shocked reactions. Instagram stories showed clips being shared by thousands. YouTube notifications pinged everywhere as the footage circulated, capturing every angle of the tense airport encounter. Hashtag Respect Keanu. Hashtag Stand Against Racism. These hashtags trended globally almost instantly. Millions of people from every corner of the world watched in disbelief as Keanu Reeves, one of the most beloved actors, was subjected to unfair treatment simply because of appearances, stereotypes, and prejudice. Comments flooded in from fans, social justice activists, and ordinary viewers. "This shouldn't happen to anyone, celebrity or not. This officer needs to be held accountable." Keanu handled this with more grace than most people could ever imagine. While many praised Keanu's patience, the public anger focused squarely on the security officer and the system that allowed this to happen. People were not just outraged, they were demanding answers. News outlets picked up the story immediately, broadcasting it on national television. Talk shows discussed the incident extensively, replaying clips and debating the deeper issues at play. Civil rights organizations highlighted the video as a stark reminder that profiling and discrimination can happen anywhere, even in public spaces that are supposed to be safe for everyone. Within just 24 hours, the airport released an official statement. "We deeply apologize to Mr. Reeves. An internal investigation has begun regarding the officer's conduct." Yet Keanu himself didn't seek vengeance. He didn't demand punishment or compensation. He wanted something far bigger, an opportunity to shine a light on injustice and to make a real difference. He released a simple, heartfelt message to the world. "Please don't focus on me. Focus on the issue. If you see discrimination, speak up. If you experience it, know that you're not alone." The words resonated across social media, news outlets, and millions of viewers' hearts. It wasn't about fame, wealth, or celebrity power. It was about raising awareness and standing against something much larger than himself. For Keanu Reeves, the incident became a catalyst for change, reminding the world that even moments of injustice, when handled with courage and dignity, could spark conversations that matter and inspire action everywhere. People didn't just share the video because it featured a celebrity. They shared it because it reflected a truth that affects millions. Everywhere, every day. A few days after the incident, Keanu Reeves returned to the very same airport, deliberately. It wasn't for publicity or to confront anyone. He came back to make a statement far more meaningful than words alone could convey. The moment he stepped into the terminal, the atmosphere was electric. Cameras flashed, travelers turned their heads, and staff members whispered to one another. But Keanu moved calmly, quietly, as if he belonged there, not as a celebrity, but as an ordinary human being asserting his dignity. Reporters quickly surrounded him, eager to capture his first words. When asked why he had returned, he smiled, the calm confidence in his eyes resonating with every onlooker. "I wanted to show that fear doesn't get to decide where I go," he said softly, yet firmly. The airport staff greeted him with respect, acknowledging the injustice of the previous encounter. Travelers clapped softly, a few even stepping forward to shake his hand, thanking him for bringing attention to a problem that affects so many quietly, discrimination that often goes unnoticed, unreported, and unchallenged. Keanu walked through the terminal, stopping to take pictures, exchange a few kind words, and smile at those who approached him. There was no bitterness in his expression, no trace of anger. Instead, there was grace, humility, and a quiet determination to turn a personal humiliation into a lesson for the world. Before boarding his flight, he paused and addressed the cameras and travelers with a simple but profound message. Being treated unfairly hurts, but responding with anger doesn't fix anything. Responding with awareness and compassion can change everything. Those words resonated far beyond the terminal. Videos of his statement went viral, shared not because they came from a famous actor, but because they came from a human being who refused to let hatred and prejudice dictate his actions. People saw not just a celebrity, but a model of patience, courage, and humanity. A moment that began with racism, tension, and public humiliation transformed into a powerful message of unity, compassion, and justice. It reminded the world that dignity isn't earned through status or fame. It is shown through how one reacts to adversity. Through his patience, kindness, and courage, Keanu Reeves once again proved why he is not only admired as an actor, but celebrated as a person. His actions became a beacon, inspiring countless others to respond to injustice with calm strength and compassion rather than anger or retaliation.